Okay, I'm going to be doing a review on a group called Nigerians Get Off Facebook. So it's a group review. The owner, or they call admin, the owner is Miss Elizabeth Burchell or Bishel or Bushel, Burchell, I would say. Now, the group has a little flag on the front of it, to say that that's the group, an American flag. But at the front of the page, they call it a closed group. It doesn't say that they are after and getting paid by the government to remove profiles of American GIs or whatever. I'll get to this. So it says it's a closed group. It's got an American flag. The members are 385 people so far today. A lot of the members here used to be my members, aren't my members, and some are, and we've had some good interactions with them. No fights, no major deals. I got no real beef with anything on that. But it says on the cover page of this group of Nigerian scammers get off Facebook, this group was formed as a place to go for understanding and support if you have been scammed. We are a closed group. Unlike most other scamming groups, we mean business. We work very hard to get scammer profiles deleted from Facebook. We do not believe in scamming scammers, which is self-administering justice and is not legal. We operate the right way. Now, what's the right way? We remove profiles. Please feel free to send a request if you have been scammed. Okay. Or want to join the fight to remove scammers from Facebook. Okay, let me get back to my little screen here. Now, the next part is that the owner there has removed me off her site, so there was no love lost, no love given. But a lot of other members of anti-scam groups have been removed off this site also. We're talking about owners of other groups, and we call them high profile people who work within the industry of scam education and fraud. Now, there's a couple of questions that I've got about Nigerians get off Facebook. It's not Area 51 that has to be a closed secret that no one knows who the operators are and who's working with them. The owner, Miss Burchell, says that she's working with the American government. The actual American government, someone in the military, has contacted her and asked her to find all profiles of military, send it to them, and then they will get it removed off Facebook. Firstly, I've got a question here. Is she getting paid by the American military to do this as a job? Secondly, if there's 385 or whatever volunteers or members in that group from all parts of life and all parts of the world, are they getting paid to do the same job that she may be getting paid? We're just saying maybe right now. Thirdly, is she an agent for the government? If she's an agent for the government and working for the government, that means that she would be getting paid, because the government usually, in most cases, doesn't accept. We've got state and federal level, but we would say on a federal level, volunteers working for the government. Thirdly, has her members passed security checks? That means, have they passed Homeland Security checks? Have they been checked out by the government, each and every one of them, that they are allowed to have access to government GI files or military files of the government? That means that there would be FBI, Secret Service photos. So if a person uses my photo now, and then 10 years from now, I'm working as a Secret Service agent, undercover, and now someone's decided to pull out my military service photo, use that now, and it's used then. Is that going to affect government service agents from now or in the future because of collaborating all this information together in one big whole. Why can't the government do their own investigations and remove their own profiles with their own personnel without using civilians or agents? We're talking about agents. When I used to work for the Australia, we're looking at 23 years ago. So I guess or 24 years ago. I guess I can just, or 24, 25, whatever. Um, I worked as a steward, as a civilian, but to work there, we had to sign agreements and pass security, the Australian security checks and everything else. That what we see, what we know, everything else will not be disclosed. I saw some things, so still don't disclose them really, even if it's minute. But anyway, I got paid as a civilian by the government. And that was something like $600 a fortnight or something. It was a lot of money back then. 640 a fortnight, which was a lot of money just to do silver service for the majors and the captains and all that sort of stuff of the army. Um, so what I'm saying is she working for them? And if she's working for them, she's getting paid to work for them, but she's not getting paid to have her members volunteer and work for her. Secondly, as I said, it's not Area 51. Um, if they're removing profiles on behalf of the American government, what if they have profiles of the American Army GIs? Or not American Army service personnel, they're not GIs in Australia. Um, Now, is she authorised to send that information and say that's fake profile? I'm getting paid by the American government to remove American ones. I am authorised to remove New Zealand photos of armed services, Australian ones, Indonesian, da 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 da. Is the American government paying her? And should that be stated on that closed group, which is on American Nigerians Get Off Facebook, that they are actually targeting American um, armed services? Let's see where I'm at. So there, that's sort of like my little dictionary of next to nothing. Now, the other part is, can Al-Qaeda use these images of armed service personnel, of reported images and profiles, to build up their database or database? I'm a little bit concerned about that even though it's a closed group, what is she using those photos for? Who else is using those photos? And what are Facebook using those photos for on those deleted images? Is it actually a collection exercise of it's just beyond imagination. They say that on there that 8,000 profiles have been removed in, say, the last 3 weeks or a month or whatever may be. My information can be quite a little bit off because I'm only going usually by second-hand or third-hand information on some topics. So who has the 8,000 images? Who has them on their file that's been collected, and who's distributing them, and who to? As I said, it's not Area 51, but we've got Freedom of Information Act, where people should be able to access this information. Because if it's American information about their own military, why can we not see what the government is doing to curb out scams? Why does it have to be private? Why does it have to, and thirdly, that means that Miss Birchall in her group is receiving all the public recognition for removing and finding these scammers in that group, when really overall in the scam community it's collaboration. Everyone's joining in for the fight, not just her alone who says that she's got the power and she can remove them and will not give up her sources, and the source doesn't want anyone to know who they are from the government, like an Area 51. It just doesn't make sense. So we'll have to get a hacker into her computer, I guess, and we'll find out who the source is. Haha, smile. Joke. So anyway, so it's a closed group. They've got members there who are working, they say, full-time, tracking down and closing down fake profiles. But unfortunately, there's a few little hiccups in the group also. There are profiles that are being deleted, or profiles that are being deleted of innocent people who are real military people. Now, that's, collateral damage, but the problem is when they start getting accused of being scammers when they're not scammers, that's when it starts becoming a little bit rough, on these sort of groups that sort of operate under their own system, their own guidelines, and say they work for the government, but we can't give up the source. Well, if they're working for the government to remove the profiles, and Facebook removing them from the government's resource, then would you be doing all this voluntary? And as I said before, I'll keep repeating, are the members being paid for their work, or is she being paid and using them as pawns? That's something and even if she's not being paid, why would the government want to employ volunteers, to do their job of their armed services people who have worked for the government? It's not a civilian's job to go tracking down that sort of stuff and say it's on behalf of the government because it's top secret and the government don't want no one to know who the source is, who's doing this, who's tracking them down. Did Barack Obama contact Miss Burchell and say, hey, Elizabeth, don't tell anyone, but we want you to do this job on behalf of us, and give her a pat on the back and say, you're doing a great job for the country, But the problem is, when questioned on a lot of things, Miss Burchell seems to be answering a lot of questions like, well, you've got something against the armed services if you are questioning my ability and my sources, and make you feel bad that, you've got something against the government. Well, no one's got anything against the government armed services who are actually trying to stop scams, but don't try to guilt people who are in the same business and you take credit by pinching their research, and then passing it off as your own. That's plagiarism. There's another thing that a member has been a little bit upset about in one group. I'll see if I can find it. It might be here. Oh, anyway, one member in another group is saying that in their group, someone has copy and pasted one of their profiles and added it to another profile claiming it to be them. Well, as a scam baiter, that means that I scam scammers, and I can see things that not everyone usually sees. It doesn't mean that I'm perfect. I'm far from it, but some of the scam groups are being scammed by scam baiters, and they're falling into the role of being baited. This is a very long sort of thing, but I want to say is don't fall for being baited by a scam baiter, because the role of a scam baiter is to bring you in, suck you in, and then get you into my world and make you believe all these things. I teach a lot of scams, and I teach some of them very well because some people question whether it's real or whether it's not. And on the internet, it's a game of words, and if you're really good at your words and you're really convincing, if you can put actions into your words, it goes a long way in scam baiting. Nigerian scammers, where they try to scam bait us. But what I want to finish this and sort of say, well, is Nigerians get off Facebook working for the government, and if they are working for the government as the administrator there, and she's an agent for the government, what agency is she working for, and why is it top secret? I mean, how can um, military being scammed on the internet be top secret when it's public information that scammers do exist? Now that can be a scam bait in itself, saying, well, shh, don't tell anyone, but we're working on side of the government and we don't want no one to know who they are, but it's a part of the military. It's a part of the military. But don't tell anyone. I'm working for them, but I can't give up my resources. It's sort of, to me, is scam baiterish, and if you don't like it, you don't like what I've said, but it's a review on the group. She got a bit grumpy, I think, with me at one stage a month or so ago, asked me to give up my resources of people who, military photos and all that, of people who have been scammed. I wouldn't give them up because I don't know the person. I've seen so many groups come and go, people saying they're working on behalf of the FBI and this, that, the other. There's a really big anti-scam group here on the internet called Romance. Yeah. Anyway, they've been around for years, and one of their top little secrets was that the FBI constantly check our group. What was that? The FBI constantly check our group. What? Well, don't be careful because the FBI constantly checks our group. So they drum into their group that the FBI are constantly sneaking up and looking at their group. What on earth's the FBI doing? What's Homeland Security doing on scammers? If they can try to chase border jumpers, and that they can actually chase scammers too. So I'm sort of a little bit wary when people say they're working on behalf of the government, or the government is actually going into their group as a fake member and sneaking in there and looking at people and saying, "Oh, John Smith, yeah, he could be a scammer. I'll tell her I'm part of the FBI." It's a bit stupid. This is how you build conspiracy theories. And every person that's not related to these scam groups that I am and all that, I ask them, I say, look, there's a group here that says that they're working on behalf of the government. They can't give up their sources. They've got all these people in there from all parts of the world that haven't had security clearance from the government to be dealing with armed security personnel files, and they're saying they're working on behalf of the government in a closed group that no one can see, and the sources are not given up. And most people just say that's bullshit, because the government, if they were working on removing files of scammers and stuff like that, they would want a public press release. They wouldn't keep it suppressed to build up a conspiracy theory among other scam educators and fraud agencies that are fighting against scams. They would want that released to the public. So this is my review. I could have probably covered a lot of other things. I am friends with a lot of people in the scam education community. I started my group as Scam Baiters United Professionals, this next group that I started. Named it that because, I wanted a lot of us scam group people to unite a little bit and share information. And that's what we're doing right now, is sharing our information instead of one scam jumping from one group to the next to the next. And we're all doing the same work, removing that same person, same profile, looking up the same IP address. Eventually we're starting to connect with each other a bit more, and we're starting to use our resources and say, well, this person, John Smith, has come to my group and I've discovered that it's a fake profile, da-da-da. Oh, that person's been to mine. Then when they see John Smith, same profile, IP, whatever, we can say, well, we're not going to waste a lot of our time on this. Bye-bye. You're the weakest link. So that was Scam Baiters United. It doesn't mean that I scam bait. all the time. I do a lot of scam education stuff also, and work within the scam education community. But I like to teach scams, how they work and how people do them, even if sometimes these scam education things make me look like I'm a scammer, or I talk like a scammer, or I think like a scammer. That's what the idea is to teach people this is how people think, this is how they do, this is their reaction, this is why they do this. Anyway, that's my video on Men's Help TV on behalf of AKA me, Scam Baiters United, Call Australia Team TV.